Arav stood in the middle of the bustling train station, shoulders heavy with dreams too big to share. People swirled around him, laughing, talking, rushing, but none saw him. And yet, he wasn't invisible. He simply didn't belong. For most, the journey of life was a shared experience. For Arav, it had always been a silent walk, one step at a time, one unanswered question after another. Friends had faded, family misunderstood his hunger for something more, and love, well, love had left long before he began to understand it. His road stretched alone into the fog of uncertainty. But in that solitude, a flicker of purpose began to glow. He realized that no one was meant to understand his vision, because it wasn't theirs to carry. His sleepless nights, his whispered prayers, his journal filled with scribbled dreams, those were his alone. As he boarded the train to the city, with only a worn backpack and a heart full of fire, Arav made a vow. He wouldn't wait for validation. He'd build his life brick by brick, even if no one cheered. This journey was his, and in that quiet promise, a new chapter began, not of loneliness, but of transformation. City life was unforgiving. Rents were high, jobs were scarce, and people were colder than he had imagined. Arav worked night shifts washing dishes, saving every rupee, his hands raw from soap and ambition. No one noticed the boy with tired eyes and worn-out shoes. He often walked back to his small, rented room in silence, the neon signs flickering above like false promises. But beneath that silence burned a fire, one only he could feel. He had dreams of launching a business, of creating something real, something lasting. Every time he was mocked for thinking too big, every rejection letter, every unreturned call, it all sharpened his focus. While others slept in comfort, Arav studied business books by candlelight. The loneliness no longer scared him. It became his mentor. It tested him daily, forcing him to ask, "Will you break or will you rise?" And every day he chose to rise. Not for anyone's applause, but for the future he had etched in his heart. In that silence, a warrior was taking shape, one forged in fire, failure, and faith. After 2 years of sacrifice, Arav finally launched his small online brand, handcrafted products made by rural artisans he once met during a college trip. He had no investors, no team, just his laptop, a borrowed camera, and the belief that purpose beats popularity. His first sale came after weeks of silence, and he celebrated alone with a plate of street food and teary eyes. That single notification confirmed what he'd always known. He didn't need to be seen to succeed, but the climb was brutal. Orders were slow. He faced delays, fake reviews, and betrayal from someone he once called a mentor. Many told him to quit and get a real job. But Arav didn't come this far to blend in. While others chased quick likes and fast money, he chose the slow road, built on values, not vanity. Each lonely step became a lesson, each failure a chapter in his becoming. And as his brand quietly grew, so did his resilience. The world still didn't know his name, but that was fine. He wasn't building fame, he was building legacy. Discipline had become Arav's closest companion. No alarms were needed anymore. His purpose woke him up before sunrise. He worked through illness, disappointment, and doubt. There were no off days, no good enough. Every click, every customer email, every tiny improvement was his responsibility. There was no team to pass the blame to, no safety net. But in that solitude, something remarkable happened. He became unshakable. He stopped checking for likes. He stopped explaining his dreams to people who couldn't see past their fears. And as his brand gained traction, his quiet dedication began to echo. Artisans who once doubted him now praised him. Customers shared stories of how his products brought meaning into their lives. But still, Arav said little, because he knew the results spoke louder than words. His silence wasn't emptiness, it was power, the kind of power born not from noise, but from consistency. And through every sleepless night, every quiet victory, he realized, discipline didn't just build a brand, it built him. Years later, Arav stood on a stage, not to accept an award, but to speak to young dreamers. His once small brand had gone global. The same boy who walked alone now led a team of changemakers. But as he looked out at the sea of faces, he didn't speak of success or money. He spoke of silence, of solitude, of the long nights no one saw. He told them that walking alone wasn't a curse. It was the greatest gift he ever received. I wasn't born different, he said. I became different, through the choices no one applauded, the discipline no one noticed, and the dreams no one understood. He looked at his old shoes displayed in a glass case backstage, not as a trophy, but a reminder. Every step he took alone carved his destiny. And now he wasn't just building a company, he was building lives. As the applause filled the hall, Arav smiled. Because he knew. He didn't walk alone to prove anything. He walked alone to become everything.